feel like that all of that was to get you here, because if you didn't go through all of that, you wouldn't be here.
Right.
You know, and those are some of the things that I know. I say a lot. You have to appreciate the journey, embrace the journey, because and you don't know you're in the journey until you get to the end of it.
Absolutely.
Or close enough.
Yep.
Then you're like, oh, okay. Well,
that's why that happened,
right,
and that's why
right.
that needed to happen. Yeah.
But really, just appreciate the moment that you're in right now. Appreciate that, because it's leading to something more.
Right.
You know. So was there a time when you ever wanted to quit?
Yeah, absolutely. You always ask yourself. I was telling my husband the other day, like, you start a piece, I would say quit. So when I broke my legs, yes, I wanted to give up. But every time I start a piece, it's something happens to me where this fuzz goes over and it's like, oh shit. I'm sorry, I don't know.
That's fine.
Okay, I was like,
that's fine.
You know,
This streaming network, we can say what we want.
I ask myself, am I doing this right? Do I know what I'm doing? And I always second guess myself. And it's almost like I go into the infancy stage and then I catch a rhythm. And I'm like, oh yeah, I am the shit. Yeah. I'm good. Like, but it's like you always check every time you start something new. You're a novice. Always. And it's so important to embrace that moment. It's important to embrace the not knowing and the almost giving up, because that other side of the spectrum is so fulfilling.
Yeah. Once you get right past, I feel like I need to quit. Like you say, it's everything opens up, and it's like, oh, well, why was I thinking about quitting? Look where I'm at.
Yes.
You know, and you have to. They like to say breakthrough. I call it push through, because you got to push through it, because you can't. Breaking through means it's a wall there.
Right.
Push through to me means it's a fuzz, and you see the fuzz.
Yes.
But you just go through the fuzz.
Yes, that's what it is.
Right on the other side is everything. You can see clearer now.
It's that blurry moment where you just kind of question, like, I can only make out this much, and like, I don't know if I can do this.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why I like doing this show, because there may be somebody who's in that fuzz, and they're like, well, it's foggy, I'm not trying to go through there. But then they start hearing, no, go through it. It's greatness right on the other side of that fog.
They're so close. Sometimes people don't even realize how close they are. Like that saying, you know, is so close yet so far. When you think that you're far away, literally, if you just put your hand through it, you're right there.
You can touch it.
Right there.
You can touch it.
You know, just a little more.
So what has been the best part of your journey?
God, that's a broad question. I would say probably all of the discovering who you are, the uncovering all the uncomfortable moments to realize that, you know, this is who you're maturing to be. And then I think hearing the people that have been there from the get-go, turning around and saying, I'm so proud of you. You've grown so much, or you know this, or even the simple text messages I get from my husband. I'll say, you know, I'm really proud of what you've done. I remember XYZ, and look at where we are now. That is like the moment where we're so many people, we don't step back and we don't look at where we were, or even write down our goals from like 5 years ago and reread it and like, oh shit, I really did come far.
Right.
And it's all of those accomplishments that you've done. They seem like step by step by step, but when you look back on it, that's been yards and miles and stuff that you've grown.
Yeah. So you said something. You said when you're discovering who you are, and I feel like a lot of people don't know. They might be doing great things, but they don't yet know exactly who they are. So talk a little bit about that moment when you realized this is who I am.
I would say probably, and no cap on anybody in their early years, but I'd say you get to a certain age. I'm heading towards 50. You get to an age where you don't give a shit anymore, where you just don't care, and either somebody's going to roll with you or they're going to roll away.
Right.
And I think it's when I hit my 40s and I started loving me, my wrinkles, my rolls, my, the way I dress, my quirky behavior. I realized that this is who I am. And I love who I am. And I love the mistakes, that I make. And I love learning from my mistakes. And I love that I reinvent myself. And there are times where I know that I don't speak Spanish fluently, but I embrace the culture anyway. I embrace what I have, and I love that I do that. I mean, you can even ask my son. He'll tell you that when I'm cooking dinner, I'll put Latin music on, and I'm sitting there in the kitchen dancing, and I love that part of me, and that influences him in some way, or influences my husband in some way, and I wouldn't change that for the world. And I love the fact that as we grow older, we are constantly always learning, always reinventing ourselves, always discovering a portion or side of us that we never knew existed or that we ever even liked, until we just even tried it.
Yeah. Once you get to that point, once you start to, like you say, love yourself, and flaws and all.
Yep.
You love yourself regardless of anything else, then you get to that point, and that's an amazing place to be. I'm working on it. I'm getting there, but that's an amazing place to be. So, what are two of your most important principles?
Oof.
Good question, huh?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. That's a really good question. I'd say loyalty, because I think it's important to recognize your posse, the people that have always been with you, but not just that, loyalty to yourself. I think it's so important to be true to yourself and not have this show or have this facade put on to try to get into certain arenas or get into certain areas. Yeah, it's good to network, but don't change who you are to be a part of a crowd that you knew you wouldn't even fit in comfortably with anyway.